morning, everybody. Welcome to Dangerous Consciousness. I hope you're doing amazing. And all right. And we timed it perfectly. Hey, there you go. Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome. My name is Sean Murphy. I'll be your host for the next 12 28-day sessions on consciousness, dangerous consciousness. I'm going to go through a little slideshow here on the Zoom side. If you want to see that, if you want to participate that, you can go to eventswithsean.com, and you can get signed up. You'll get the link there and the password to access the conversation. So here we go. Day one of Dangerous Consciousness. The reason behind it, of this program, this process, is because so many people have been studying and attending and doing personal development and doing social media trainings and doing conversations and doing all of these unique capacities, capabilities, and conversations and a variety of a whole bunch of things. And we seem like we're still a little bit stuck. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? It's that this idea that people have this understanding that more is going to get them somewhere. And I get it. More is important. More is very important. Well, more of what? More of what you don't want, or more of what you do want? See, that's the conversation that I want to have with you today, is that this idea, this understanding, this belief that doing more, it's just piling up. It's just piling up on top of other stuff. So let me go over here. That's where it is. Okay, great. Let me put this over here. And I want to just, again, I want to share with you a little bit this idea, give you an understanding of what it truly means to have consciousness. Now, it's something I'm working on. It's something I'm working through. I've been asked by a university to actually put some of this stuff together. So I'm kind of inviting you into a university course. I don't want to say it's high level. I don't want to say it's highbrow, but you will raise your eyebrows high and you will have a higher understanding of who you are. So that being said, let's share some stuff here. We're going to go over here, share there, share. And for those of you that are watching, if you can just give me an audible that you can see that. And now it should be full. Yes?
Looks good.
Awesome. Thank you, Michelle. So 12 months of inside work to change your outside world. Month one. Now the program's already laid out. This isn't something I'm just, throwing some stuff on the wall and seeing what exists. So let me just tell you what each 28-day segment is going to be. And a 28-day segment is what I'm calling a month. So it's Introduction to Consciousness and Self. Month two is mindfulness and awareness. How many of you are saying, I just need to be more mindful? I want to do meditation. I want to understand meditation. I want to understand human nature. I want to be more present when I'm with people. Right? Month three is emotional intelligence and self-regulation. This idea that you have set a goal. For how many years have you set a goal? How many years have you set a goal and it keeps slipping away? You keep shoving out the end date. You keep shoving out the finish line. So emotional intelligence is the ability to have this understanding, this comprehensive realization of why you get frustrated, why you get agitated, why you can't lose weight, why you can't put on weight, why you struggle with doing exercise. This whole self-talk conversation, that's month three. Month four, creative thinking and problem solving. What if 90 days from now, any problem that you ever had turned into a project and you were able to solve it and dissolve it and finish it all at once? Right? What if you were able to intuitively be able to create solutions to projects that are on the outside, that are on the edge of your awareness, and you already have the solutions available for them? Month five, critical thinking and decision making. Man, I need that now. The reason that you may struggle with critical thinking and decision making now is because you haven't dealt with your mindfulness or your emotional intelligence or a variety of things. You haven't become fully aware of who you are, of this amazing, unique being on this planet. Month six, communication and interpersonal skills. How many of you, I'm not going to ask, how many of you, let me ask it this way. How many of you know somebody that you would love having a conversation with them if they could literally improve their communication skills. Drop a C in the chat if you know somebody that, man, you wish they could improve their communication skills, because it would be a better conversation. What we see in others, we see in ourselves. But let's go on. Number 7, month 7, is leadership and team building. How many of you have ever built an organization? How many of you have ever built a community? How many of you have ever had a community of friends that you put together, that you built, and then all of a sudden they kind of walked away? That's leadership and team building. You've missed out on something, somewhere, some critical factor. You've missed out on team building and leadership. Maybe because you were wanting to do it for them. Maybe you felt responsible for them instead of just to them. So that's month 7. Let's go to month 8. Month 8, time management. Now, the reason I put time management up there, if you follow me, you know, and I know there's no such thing as time management. And that's the buzzword that marketing says that people need to see in order to go, ooh, I need time management. It's truly about energy management. When you become more conscious about who you are and who you're becoming, you become conscious about everything that you do, and you realize that everything needs to be a win-win-win situation. Win for you, win for me, and win for my big goal, my definite major purpose. Does that make sense? See how all of a sudden, if you have your vision and you have your clarity and you're tied to that future event, the present now will the only desire in the present moment is to move you towards that event. So there is no time management. There is no time management necessary. You cannot manage time, period. I can't make one day 1 second longer or 1 second shorter. So I am incapable. You are incapable of managing time. What you are capable of, what is possible for you, is the simple fact that you can manage your energy and time. And that allows you to increase your productivity. So month 9, stress management and resilience. Man, I need that like today. No, I understand that. What happens is that when you realize how you become conscious and how you become aware, you need stress in your life. You need stress to move you forward. You need some things to pull you. So it's not about stress management, about the incapability, the incapacity that you have to be Zen-like in all situations. All right. So month 10 is ethics and morality as it relates to consciousness. Jim Rohn said this: never do a good deal. Listen carefully. Never do a good deal with a bad guy or gal. How many of you have done some good deals with some shady people because the return looked like it was going to be wildly beneficial for you, and maybe you bit the dust? Month 11, personal growth and self-improvement. Wow, how is that in session 11? 11 sessions of 28 days. That's the month you're going to pick on personal growth and self-development? Yes, because for once, it's probably going to be the only time, the pure time, the reality of when you can truly grow. Listen, when you start to get into the process of human development and developing your ultimate skills, your highest calling, your best self, it doesn't take a day. It doesn't take 21 days. Now, high learning, advanced learning, super learning, you can change habits in 15 minutes. Doesn't even take 21 days. If you're in a super learning environment, most of us have not had access to super learning environments. It's all about frequency and tone and all of that. You're going to walk through this. Part of this is super learning kind of hidden in the background so that you can access this information in your own personal brain and reality faster and stronger. So there's some of the questions. So and 12th month is conclusion and next steps, right? So this ends December 31st. It's 28-day sessions. Today is day 1. February is the first day of 28 days. Funny how that works. It's not so funny. So here we go. What's next? So let me talk to you just to give you an idea. Let me break down. And there's also already outlines for every single day. Wait, what? Yeah, there's outlines that are for the month, for the week, and for the day. And we're going to do 4 days a week. 5th day is kind of conversation. 6th day is a little bit of recap and relax and sinking in. Because one of the things that you need time for is time for this to assimilate into your system. So day 1, introduction, that's where we're at now. Day 2, history of consciousness, exploring the different theories and the philosophies, the philosophers who have kind of scrappled and grappled with it. Day 3 is the brain consciousness, exploring. I've got a light in the way, exploring the role of the brain in shaping the experience of consciousness. Day 4, the consciousness of the self, examine how our self and our self-impact, how our self is impacted by our consciousness. That's just week 1. I told you it's kind of a collegiate class, but here's what I know. You don't need to be taught go for no anymore. I mean, maybe you do. I don't think you do. You don't need to be taught show the plan every day. I think you already know to show the plan every day. I don't think you need to be taught do your daily method of operation. I think you know all of this stuff. I don't think you're doing it, and that's because of your conscious awareness. Does that make sense? So that's why I want to have this conversation with you. So here are several benefits to accessing your personal consciousness. What are the benefits, Sean? If I join you in this program and I decide that I'm going to be a part of it and I'm going to pay you the money to be a part of it, it's a $10,000 program. It's not going to be that for you. You're the first ones here. It's a conversation we're going to have. So just hang in there. Just listen carefully. Go through the first week with me. See if you don't have some ahas to see if this isn't wildly different than anything else you've been through. So here's some of the personal benefits. Improved self-awareness. Listen, let's get clear. How many of you drop an H in the chat if you know you need to drink more water? I'm just saying, drop an H in the chat if you know you need to drink more water. And then are you doing it? And then are you doing it? Right? If you're not doing it, then you don't have awareness. You can't possibly have awareness. Come on back. So self-awareness, a higher level of consciousness that allows individuals to understand their thoughts, feelings, and their behaviors better. Do you realize that? Could you imagine if the sun decided to show up one day and then one day didn't show up? It wasn't consistent. How long would life last if the sun wasn't consistent? The reason I ask you that is that we're all good at it for a short time. We haven't been able to do it for the consistent time for it to happen. We all have these great ideas. We all have this thing that we're going to be good at it. The challenge is that we don't wind up having enough time for the damn idea, the growth, the goal to grow. That's why we have to keep repeating and repeating and repeating it. One of the other things that'll happen is better decision-making. Better decision-making will happen. Increased consciousness leads to a clearer understanding of oneself and others, allowing for more thoughtful and informed decision-making. How many of you yesterday feel that you made a decision that you could have done better? You knew it. How many times yesterday, maybe in the last week, have you said, I knew better? See, that's your consciousness. That's your consciousness already there, operating under the surface. Some other benefits is increased empathy. A more conscious mind, a more conscious individual is better equipped to understand and relate to the experience and the perspectives of other people. Do you think, would it be possible, because of what's happened over the last couple of years, people have shut themselves down? People want to be open, but they've shut themselves down a little bit. Do you think with the economy, the way it's going and the way the news is feeding us layoff after layoff after layoff after layoff after layoff after layoff after layoff, that we might be a little worried for our income stream? Drop a W in the chat if you know anybody who's worried about their income stream. I'm not saying you are. You probably have got it all locked down and tightened in, but drop a W in the chat if you know some people might be worried for their income stream. So do you think that they're going to be fully open and fully aware and fully excited about having a conversation with you about their lack? See, when you become conscious and when you become aware and when you start to become fully conscious and understand and have a conceptual understanding of what true empathy means, for the first time, that person who's speaking to you may feel heard, may feel liked, may feel loved, may find out that they have actually somebody who understands the conversation. The other thing that'll happen is improved relationships. Not only but mutually amongst you and your significant other, improved relationships, being able to have compassion for people around you. A heightened level of consciousness can lead to better communication, greater compassion, and stronger relationships. Personal growth. Becoming more conscious, it can facilitate a greater understanding of oneself and the world. Listen, Tony Robbins talks about it all the time. It's not that you lack resources. You lack the resourcefulness to attain them. You lack the resourcefulness to acquire them. You lack the resourcefulness to have access to them. Every one of you, listen carefully. Drop a T in the chat if there's a table you want to get a seat at. Metaphorically, physically, drop a T if there's a table that you want to get. If there's a table that you want to get a seat at. Here's the thing: how are you going to get to that table? If you know where the table is, you have to grow. You have to become more, Jim Rohn said this, become more valuable to valuable people. The only way you're going to increase your value to valuable people is to become consciously aware, more empathetic, more understanding, more conscious of how you can be a better server to them. Doesn't that make sense? Doesn't that make sense? More consciousness allows you to grow faster. More consciousness allows you to undo a lot of the bullshit that's been done to you through programming, through not only your parents, through other people. So let's have a conversation about what consciousness is. Here's a brief, tiny, infinitesimal conversation about consciousness. Consciousness is one of the most fascinating and complex aspects of human nature. I think we would all agree that. Most people, you're not going to go find, I should say it's rare you're going to find at your company's morning coffee session, them talking about, let's learn a little bit more about consciousness. It's going to be rare that you're going to have somebody come in and spend time speaking to you about consciousness. Why? Because most companies want what? What do they want? They want sales. So they're going to teach you sales training. They're going to take the person who's number one in the company and they're going to tell them, tell me what you've done. Tell me what you did. Tell me how you did it. Tell me how you did. Tell me strategy. Oh, state strategy. They'll have some keynote speakers who come in and teach on state. But the thing that's missing is the awareness. Is the QLQ, the quantum linguistic question, is understanding your archetypes and who's actually got to do all of this work inside of you. So another thing about the basics understandings of consciousness is understanding consciousness can help us better understand ourselves and the world around us. Today, we'll explore the definition of consciousness and the relationship and the awareness of it. So, for those of you that are seeing the PowerPoint slide, this is an incredible image that was AI created through the magnificent language and dialogues of Erica Murphy, who's a very dear friend. Kind of cool conversation. So dangerous consciousness, that little light in the very center, kind of the pineal gland kind of lit up. Imagine what happens when your pineal gland lights up, a little bit of dangerous consciousness. So definition of consciousness. Consciousness can be defined as the state or quality of being aware of, and being able to think and perceive one's surroundings and experiences. So let's do this real quick. There's some things that you've already been habitually aware of. How many of you are aware of the chair or the floor that your feet are on? See, it's one thing to be aware of them. It's another thing to become conscious of it. Does that make sense? How many of you can feel the clothes on your body right now? If you're wearing clothes, if you can feel the clothes or the blanket or the bed sheet on your body. See, you were aware of them. You just may not have been consciously aware of them. Does that make sense? So there's a big, huge difference between awareness and consciousness and being consciously aware. How many of you know that the solutions to your goals are within reach? energetically, metaphorically, physically. How many of you could reach for something on your desk right now or something in your car right now without looking for it? See, there's a big difference between being consciously aware of it is and truly being aware of it. When you add the both, when you combine the both and you become consciously aware and you become so consciously aware that everything all of a sudden starts to make sense. Consciousness allows us to experience sensations, emotions, thoughts, and awareness in the world of ourselves. So there's a definition. What would happen if all of a sudden you could improve that? If you could 10x that? Everybody wants to 10x their income. Everybody wants to 10x their influence. People want to say influence 10x the number of followers. I need more followers. For what? Right? So next we talk about consciousness and awareness. Consciousness and awareness are closely related, but are not the same thing. I'm reading the slides over here. So for when I'm looking at you at Instagram and I turn away, that's me reading the PowerPoint slides that the people in the VIP and the Zoom group are watching. So consciousness and awareness are not the same. Awareness refers to the ability to perceive and respond to external stimuli. Does that make sense? Awareness refers to the ability to perceive and respond to external stimuli. Consciousness, on the other hand, involves the subjective experience. Go Google subjective experience. It means it's personal. There's a depth and a deepness to that. Just those two words, subjective experience. Consciousness, on the other hand, involves the subjective, your personal experience of those stimuli, as well as the ability to reflect and understand them. So how many of you, if you smell a particular perfume or cologne, it brings you back to somebody in your life previously that man, they just brings back great memories, or B, brings back starts to turn you into rage, and you become, you're like, oh, that's that some bitch. I know what that smell is. Oh, I hate that. Right? Does that make sense? So it's the same awareness. Your consciousness requires you to process it differently. You could be driving with somebody in the car. How many of you have ever rode in a car? If you've ever been in Houston, Texas, that was probably a big situation, meaning traffic down there is crazy. If you've ever been in Puerto Rico, forget it. It's another place. It's the most amazing place on the planet to learn how to drive. So how many times have you ever been in a car? Drop a C in the chat if you've ever been in a car and somebody cuts off. You're not driving, you're a passenger, and somebody gets cut off. Your driver of your car gets cut off, and they start screaming and hollering. And you're like, they're an idiot. Or maybe you're the one who screams and hollers, and you start screaming and hollering at the car, and the driver goes, what the hell's your problem? Just relax. I'm driving. Don't worry about it. See, that's the difference between awareness is the car cuts you off. Consciousness, programmed consciousness, says how you respond. I want to hit the next rank in my business. And somebody who started after you hit the rank before you hit it. And you all of a sudden, your consciousness, your awareness that they hit the rank is awesome. Your consciousness beats you up, starts to beat you up, and beat you up a little more. I'm not good enough. I'm not this. And so what do we wind up doing? We wind up accessing our conscious awareness of our past, and we bring that forward, and we talk about all of the things that we were successful of in another lifetime, and all of those things that we were successful of in another lifetime, in a previous lifetime, keeps us from having access to our present moment. We're going to get into that. So let's continue. So different theories about the nature of consciousness. There's three major theories about consciousness. The philosophers and scientists have been trying to understand the nature of consciousness for centuries. We're not going to get through it in 12 months. If they've been studying it for centuries, I want to give you a new awareness to it so that you can operate at a totally, completely different level of your awareness and your consciousness to serve your family in your highest and best way. Okay. So there are several theories about the nature of consciousness, including this. So here, listen carefully. So I'm going to put them all three up here. So there's materialism. consciousness that is materialism. And that says consciousness arises from the physical processes in the brain, the physical neural connections, the neural network that's happening, all of that stuff. So there's materialism, a level of consciousness. Then there's dualism. Dualism exists outside of the physical world and separate from the body and the brain. So there's here and there's out there. There's internal consciousness, there's external consciousness. So there's this dualism. Consciousness exists outside of the physical world and is separate from the body and brain, meaning it's out there. It's in what Wallace D. Wattles would say, there is a thinking stuff, right? There is a thinking stuff. There's a thinking stuff from which all things are made that permeates and penetrates and fills the inner spaces of the universe. I'm okay with any of them. I'm talking about me. So I'm kind of the material. It's happening in here, but I also know that I can pull from the universal consciousness. When you are talking to somebody and you're sitting there and you're having a conversation, you go, oh, I got it. Wait a minute. Whoa. Where did that come from? Did that arise from inside of you? Did that come from, right? Napoleon Hill talks about when two minds get together, the third what is created? What's the third thing that's created? When two minds get together, there's something, a third mind that's created. What's that called? It's the mastermind, right? And then there's the idealism. Consciousness is the only reality, and the physical world is just a projection of my mind. Now, if you're a quantum theory, a quantum mechanics individual, and you're highly into that camp of quantum mechanics, that nothing exists until it's measured. It's why you can see something in the room that I can't. That's also a phenomenon of what's called intentional blindness, or scotoma in psychology. So the point is that does everything exist behind you? I don't know. I assume it exists. I assume that there's another wall behind me and that there's equipment behind me and that there's dogs behind me. But as soon as I turn around, I measure it, they instantly exist. So that's the quantum mechanics side of it. So these are the ideas. These are a little bit more highbrow conversations than go for no, or here's how you deal with objections. Do you think it's possible? Drop an O in the chat if you believe it's possible that when you have a complete understanding, or a much better understanding of your conscious awareness, that objections won't exist anymore. See, I don't have to deal with the objection because it's not my objection. I got to deal with your objection. So how do I help you overcome your objection? See, I sit in a different place when I understand that I have to help you, that I get to help you understand your objection. Do you think there's ever going to be a need to ask a boss for a raise? Why would a boss give you a raise? What's the qualifications for a raise? Providing more value. Jim Rohn said it. Income is like a ladder. You want more money? Climb up the ladder, bring more value to the marketplace. All right, so let's continue. Here's in conclusion, just about in time. The consciousness is a complex and multifaceted phenomenon. Yes, I know that. You know that. I know that. Further exploration of consciousness can help us better understand ourselves and the world around us. That's a given. In the next few days, few weeks, few months, we'll delve deeper into the topic of consciousness and its relationship with our brain and ourself. You know why most people can't talk about consciousness? Because you can't really put it in a bucket. It happens inside this internal, amazing, the most sophisticated piece of equipment that's known in the known universe called our brain. Most people don't understand the brain. We'll be talking about how do you bump up against somebody's amygdala without turning it on and putting them into fight or flight? How do you give them an advanced rest and digestion? How do you increase their capacity to be in low beta? How do you increase their capacity to be active when they want to move and set a goal to get into high alpha? When do you help them understand and create more creative processes and get them into a waking theta state? Yeah, that's probably boring. You probably just heard that on the last training you were in, or not. See, my point is that you're about to enter into the most fantastic journey of your own brain, of your own awareness. Imagine if all of a sudden your stress level went from 100 to 0. You were fully engaged, you were fully excited, yet it wasn't stress. What would happen if your health went from a 0 to a 10? What if your skin cleared up? What if your aches you stopped aching? What if your wellness started increasing to a level of absolute, the doctors don't know what you're doing. They want to know where you found the fountain of youth. What if you could begin to reverse age yourself? See, many people, because they give their age, they feel that they have to be this certain look. How many of you feel that when you're 80 or 60 or 20 or 30, that you have to have this 30-year-old look or this 40-year-old look? That's your consciousness. That's your consciousness. How many of you, when you get up, you go, you ache? That's your consciousness. Your body doesn't ache. Your body is producing cell after cell after cell that's absolutely healthy and well. And you can rewire all of that inside of your body. And that's what consciousness can do for you. So that's the journey I want to invite you on. That's the journey I want you to have a conversation with me. And the first week is going to be full access. Full access to the first week. You're going to have access to that. After that, it's $50 a month. $50 a month for you to have access to this. $50 a month. 28 days. Less than $2 a day to unlock your consciousness. If you're not worth that, if all of a sudden you're like, well, I don't have the money, I will tell you, then you need to cancel something else and you need to be a part of this program. Because if you can't afford, if you don't have the flexibility and the luxuries to go do what you want, what does that do to your consciousness? What does that do to your awareness? If you can't afford $50, and I'm okay if you can't, that's all right. If you can't afford $50, then I'm going to ask you, what does your brain, what does your reticular activating system look for the rest of the day? Everything you can't avoid, everything you can't afford, everything that's over $50. If I only had $50, if I only had that, I'm telling you, this is a $10,000 program. It is. It is. For the next, how many days left in the year? So you won't be able to sign up until towards the end of the week. Why? Because I don't want you any stressing. I don't want anybody stressing out. So when you decide if that's what you want, that's what's going to happen. But this is the level of education. So I'm giving you the first week. Here's going to be the first week. The next 4 days is going to be full content. Go to SeanGMurphy.com, go to eventswithsean.com, get signed up, show up in the Zoom room that I'm going to go have conversations now with people live. You get live access every day to ask your questions on consciousness. So there you go. Go to eventswithsean.com, get signed up, join me in the Zoom tomorrow, and we'll have more conversations on consciousness. I am your head brain training, dangerous consciousness awakening misfit. I'll see y'all where? I'll see you at the next event. Till then, bye for now. All righty, ladies and gents. I love you tons. And YouTube, you are the bestest. I love you tons. Go to eventswithsean.com, and I will see you where? I'll see you tomorrow morning.